Hi, my name is Debbie Brown, and welcome to the Chambers Meet the Candidate. I'm going to let you jump in and introduce yourself and what position you're running for.
Okay. I'm Greg Haston. I'm running for Angleton Independent School District Board of Trustees, position 6. And the election is May the 5th, and early voting starts on the 23rd of this month through the 1st. So, you know, if you can't get out on the 5th, by all means get out there early and vote early.
That's right. That's right. Now, Greg's information is going to be on the Chamber's website. So if you have questions after our interviews today, or just comments or anything, you'll be able to contact him from the information that will be on the Chamber's website. So we're just going to dive in and start questions. Are you ready?
I'm absolutely ready.
Okay. Well, let's just get started. Why, in your opinion, are you qualified for this position?
Well, that's an excellent question. I think I'm qualified for this position, first of all, because this is my home. This is my community. I have invested in this community. My mom and dad came here when I was 6 weeks old, and the roots that they set down in this community, they run deep. I've lived here by choice as an adult. I've raised 4 children in this community. And now I'm at the point in my life where occupationally I travel a lot, and I get asked all the time whether or not I want to, whether I'd consider relocating, and the answer is always absolutely not, because this is my community. Furthermore, there are a couple of things that kind of make me a little unique for the position. My job is I'm a global corporate health, safety, and environmental director for this company that's growing exponentially worldwide. And so I spend about 10 or 12 hours every day just immersed in legislation, rules, policies, managing multi-million-dollar budgets. And I do all of that, and so I bring a perspective to the board that I think most board members, when they get in there, they look and they think it's all about hugging kindergartners, and that they don't realize that when you get down to the brass tacks, it's management of a business, and the business is educating kids. And so I've got a lot of experience, a lot of practical experience with that type of service to my employer now, and I'd like to bring that to the community. Also, I've got kind of a unique perspective, because here recently, I've spent the past year as a member of AISD's Master Facilities Planning Committee, and what we've done is we have taken a team of educators, community members, parents, led and championed by Dr. Pat, and what we did is we sat down and we challenged ourselves to look to the future and see what the district's needs are going to be in the future, and how we can really take and facilitate what the district's doing today and make those decisions now for what's going to happen 3 years, 5 years, 8 years down the road. If you've paid attention to anything that Angleton ISD has done, if you go back in history, 10 years ago we did the same thing, and the benefit out of that was that we saw the projected growth that was coming. And we had enough, the board at the time had enough foresight to go out and look at our facilities, and what came out of that was Central Elementary School. What came out of that was Angleton High School that's out there on the loop. What came out of that was looking and building the base of the elementary so that we could support the kids that were coming into the community that they projected. And I'll tell you what, they were spot on with that decision. And I think the decisions that they've made, that we've made as a committee this year, are just spot on again.
Good. How important is it for the district to purchase items and services from local vendors? How committed to the shop local motto are you, and what have you done to encourage citizens to keep their tax dollars here in Angleton?
Well, when you look at the school board, there's not a lot of the purchasing and the procurement is really under the power of the school board. That being said, there's nothing that can't say that the school board can't. The school board actually has one employee, and that employee is the district superintendent, and the board gives their vision of what they want the board to do, or what they want the district to do, and what they want, how they want that business to run to the superintendent. And there's no reason why that the school board can't take and kind of take that feeling of shop local. Let's do all that we can here locally, and kind of impress that upon the superintendent, who in turn can impress it, and it runs downhill. Furthermore, the best thing you can do is just be a good role model. Keep your business dollars here. I go out to eat here. I do my shopping here. Everybody's campaigning right now. I've kept 100% of my dollars right here. It would have been so easy for me to go and buy campaign signs on the internet, and probably would have saved, but financing my own campaign, I have to sit there and manage my own money, but it's real important for me to keep those dollars right here. So I made that just conscious decision, and I don't see why that would be any, service on the board would be any different. That every opportunity to try and keep those dollars here. Plus, we got great partners with the businesses in our community. They really support the schools, and I think in turn, the school really supports local business as best they can.
I know they support the school 100%.
Oh, yeah.
You see that on the streets whenever you go by during Purple Week.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a daughter that's a cheerleader that goes around and paints on everybody's windows, including y'all's this past season.
Describe your vision. You touched on this a little bit earlier, but describe your vision for the district's role in workforce development for local businesses over the next 5 years.
Well, like I said, being part of the planning committee, that was one of the big questions that we had. Right now, the district has a CTE program, which is the career and technical education program, and it's what we used to call vocational education. It's the welding, the culinary arts, things like that. And one of the recommendations that came out of the committee was looking at the property of the high school itself. And the property of the high school, if the projections are right, and I don't think that they wouldn't be, the high school's fixing to start really facing some crowding issues. And one of the big recommendations is to pull a lot of these CTE programs out of that building, get them out from underneath that roof, and possibly consider, if the voters allow it, the construction right there on the campus of another building where we can take and we can expand and have more room for CTE, and then free up some more room for schools. But I mean, we got great CTE programs, and those CTE programs are for the kids that are not cut out for college. I wasn't cut out for college. Not everybody's made for that, or not everybody can afford that. But you know what? We need people to repair our cars. We need people to fix our air conditioners, especially in this climate. We need people to be chefs, and your whole education process, if it's well-rounded like ours is, it shouldn't all just be, how do we get the kids ready for college? It's how do we get the kids ready for life? And from a business perspective, getting them ready for life is giving them a good foundation. They know how to learn. They know how to follow rules. They're teachable. They're hardworking. They know the value of that hard work. And all of that rolled into one big ball of wax is what it takes to make a really good employee.
All right. A portion of graduating students require remedial courses during our universities or the community colleges. Do you feel that Angleton ISD is graduating a quality product from high school, or how do you feel this could be improved?
No, you know what? Absolutely. I think our kids are the best. And again, I just look at my kids. My kids, they are not the smartest in the world, because I've had to tell them to do the same thing more than once, and there's some punishment coming. But again, they're kids, and I think educationally we do a really good job of preparing these kids for college and for life. There's going to be a small subset of kids that are going to have to take remedial courses, but having to take remedial courses doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean that that you're incapable. these kids are people too. And, we had a hurricane 6, 7, 8 months ago. That is huge for these kids. So having a kid who academically slips a little bit, that I would expect that, but you know what? By talking to teachers and educators and my own kids and my daughter and her friends, I really am not seeing that. I think that as a community, we've just kind of rallied around that. Also, too, Angleton is in the past, we've kind of had like different tiers. You graduate under one plan, you graduate under another plan. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, all of our kids are being challenged to graduate under the foundation plan, where they go and they pick a pathway that kind of elevates their learning. Is geared towards what they're thinking they might want to do later. And I think that our graduates are probably as well suited for life as anybody, if not, better than our neighbors. Yeah. So I think I don't really see it as there being that need, but it does happen. But I don't think it's as widespread as everybody thinks.
Okay. Name the most important decision the school board has made in the last 2 years that you disagreed with, if any, and explain why you disagreed with that decision.
Honestly, hindsight's 20/20. Everybody can sit and they can look back and they can say, well, you should have done this, you should have done that, especially if they weren't the ones that put the effort into it. I read that, you let me kind of glance at questions earlier, and I thought about it, and I really can't think of anything that they did bad that I would say, well, you know what, if I would have been there, I would have done different. One thing I can tell you that I think that they've done good in place of that is, I think that the current board, under the leadership of Don Thompson, has done a really good job of sound financial planning. Our budget, the money that the district has brought in, we're in a good place of solvency. And I think that if the board so decides, there's an opportunity that for the first time in recent memory, they'll be in a position where they can consider really lowering our tax rate, which is, everybody always complains, my taxes are going up, and that's really not being driven by the board. The tax rate has been set by the board. That's one of their main functions, is setting the tax rate, but it's the valuations go up. And I think that we're in a climate right now where we can, the board can actively weigh increase in valuations against the tax rate and consider lowering the tax rate and still accomplishing their main goal of educating the kids and being a good citizen and taking a little bit of pressure off of the people in the community. Yeah. So it's a win-win. I think they're doing a good job. I chose this year to run because I actually feel so good about what the board is doing that I really don't want to have to run against them, because they're doing a good job. But what I want to do is I want to come and sit with them, maybe bring a new perspective, a little different perspective maybe.
Okay. In your discussion with voters, what concern or issue has been raised that surprised you the most? And what are your suggestions for dealing with those issues?
Oh, school security. That's all anybody wants to talk about, school security. There's so many other things that we can talk about. But it seems like the only thing anybody wants to talk about is school security. Right. And granted, I get it. I got kids, and I have children and I have kids. I have my own children, and then I have all these kids. And my ex-wife actually is a teacher, and the recent scare they had where, this rumor went viral, a lot of people, got really freaked out by that. And so the issue of security comes up. And to answer your question, the thing that people are talking to me about that really I'm just appalled by is the number of people that are sitting there going, well, their security plan is the arming of teachers, the arming of staff. And I think you're trying to mitigate a problem, and you're causing a bigger problem. So I think my plan would be that to do exactly what we're doing. Routinely, I know the district brings in security consultants every so many years to come in and just do like a campus, a property assessment, look for weaknesses, and then give a report back that, hey, this is what we found. Make some recommendations, and then the board acts upon that. And I got full faith that they'll act in the most appropriate way. But I'm just really freaked out by the number of people that think that everybody should be walking around packing a gun. Personally, I just don't think that's the right plan. I think the right plan is, hardening the campus a little bit, and once you come in the doors, just let the kids be kids. Let it be school. I had a great time when I went there. I just don't think that everybody should be overreacting the way they are.
Right.
So.
Okay. What is your suggestion to increase voter turnout in the AISD school race?
I wish. I think that is probably the question that everybody has.
Yeah.
AISD is not Angleton. That's probably a misnomer. Everybody thinks that AISD is Angleton. It's not Angleton. AISD is Angleton. It's Roche-Sharon. It's Holiday Lakes. It's parts of Bailey's Prairie. It's down at Bastrop. It's the footprint of AISD is huge, and when you start looking at all those families that are inside that footprint, I think a lot of people out of Holiday Lakes, and I think a lot of people in Roche-Sharon and stuff, it's like their attitude is, why bother? It's Angleton. It's Angleton. It's Angleton. There's probably 12, 15, maybe closer to 20,000 registered voters in AISD. And when you have a school board election, you have 1,000 people show up. That just tells me that the only people that show up are the ones that are passionate about it. So the answer is to, how can you make people passionate? And you don't want to make people passionate with empty promises. I think the way to make people passionate is to remind them that even though you live in Roche-Sharon, you're part of this community. This is your school community, and we're all one family, and we're all unique. And so that's the big thing is how do you get people behind? If you can have a football game, if you can have a playoff football game, and you can have 4,000 or 5,000 people take off of work to go to a football game, why can't you get 4,000 or 5,000 people to take off of work, or even stop by on their way home and just cast a vote? So I don't know. My plan is to advertise and remind people that there's early voting, which is April 23rd to May the 1st. It's not a huge inconvenience, and it's just, why don't people do it? I have missed one election. I'm 55 years old. I have missed one election since I was 18 years old. And
you need to do it at a football game.
And yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe we need to, at halftime, set some boosts up. But yeah, you just have to be passionate about your community, and I think there's a general sense of complacency. Right. If there was something that also, maybe low voter turnout is indicative of the fact that Angleton School District's doing a good job. You know what? If it was doing a bad job, everybody would be lining up to vote the bums out. But when you have low voter turnout, maybe it can be taken as an imprinter of keep doing what you're doing. All
right. Are you willing to use your mobile device and social networking to communicate with citizens?
Absolutely. That, I think, is something that here locally, at the local level, that is just untapped. It is untapped. I'm a corporate safety director. I've got 200 plus employees on 3 continents that I have to communicate with, and I personally have found that the easiest way to communicate with them is just like this: make a video, send them a video. The president of my company, when he has a message he wants to get out to everybody, he doesn't send an email because emails get lost in the shuffle. He uses video. We use Facebook. We use websites. I have a meeting tomorrow. Actually, I have a meeting Monday where I have to sit down and we have to go through our next generation of what our social media will look like as a way to communicate with our workers. And it is an absolute untapped gold mine of a way to get the message out. A lot of my campaign is, the reason why I'm running is based a lot on Facebook. People that, I've been very vocal over the years. I think I've been a big supporter of the schools, a big supporter of athletics, not just the football team, but the girls softball team or the girls basketball team. And at times I've been a little vocal about my feelings about the treatment of how I thought that it was not the same. You know, more people showed up for the boys' events than they showed up for the girls. And because of that, with Facebook and the such, people have reached out to me. So now I'm actually I've created a Facebook page on my regular Facebook account that is just Greg Haston for AISD School Board, and I'm going to utilize that platform as a way to let people know about me in small, digestible bites. And one thing that I would like to do is I would like to let everybody know that if I get elected, I'm 100% accessible. My phone number, I anticipate winning, so I anticipate taking that page and changing it from 4 to Greg Haston on AIC School Board, and still leaving my email address up and that I made for the campaign, and my phone number still posted, and letting people get in touch with me. Can't fix everything. There's not a lot of stuff school board wise that happens at the campus level that would be in my wheelhouse, but I think it's an excellent opportunity to for people to let you know what they're feeling, what they're wanting, what their needs are. Then when it comes to by the time it gets to the board level, I've got better preparation in place. I have somebody says something about this, and so I'll go out and I'll find out about it and educate myself, and then there's a lot less being blindsided and a lot better education for the school board, and I think everybody should do it. Right. Absolutely. So the answer is absolutely.
Okay. Do you have any parting comments? That's all the questions I have.
I guess the only thing I want to say in closing is that looking at the people I'm running against, I'm a voter, but I'm glad that that's not my only horse in this race, because I am running against some really fine people. I know both of them. They're both fine people. They're both fine citizens. Their motivation is just like mine. We have something that's good. Let's make it better. And it would be a tough decision if that's all if you only had everything to base upon. But I think that what sets me out, makes me a little more unique, is the fact that I'm not here because I have to be here. I'm not here because my job says I have to be here. Actually, my job wishes that I lived in the Woodlands, so my commute would be closer. But my conviction to stay here was so strong that my company has made concessions so that I can stay here, because this is my home. This is where I'm gonna raise my family, and I think I bring a unique perspective from a management standpoint, being a manager of people, being a manager of programs and policies, and being a manager of a budget, which, like I said, that's what my job comprises of, is taking governmental rules and regulations and then making sure that my policies fit the law in the best way that suits my outcome. And at work, my outcome is that nobody gets hurt. For the school board, my outcome would be that we turn out absolutely the best citizens that we can for this community. And I'd appreciate your vote, and don't be afraid to vote early. It's not that hard. It's just like voting on election day, and the lines are a lot shorter.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, we appreciate you being here.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate y'all's hospitality.
Greg Haston, and he's running for the AISD School Board. And what are those voting dates again?
Early voting is April 23rd to May the 1st. And It's usually 7 to 7, but first couple of days I think they shut it off at 5. And then the general election is 7 to 7 on May the 5th, and I appreciate your support.
All right. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.